Hey everybody, we're here in the kitchen today. We're going to be making some maple sugar here shortly. There's a video before this that's with maple sugar and cotton candy. If you're interested, check that out. Just wanted to give you a little intro to this video. This is my wife and I went on vacation to Vermont about 2 weeks ago now, and this is some of the footage we got from up at Goodrich Maple. We visited with them for 3 days actually. Unfortunately, Glenn Goodrich wasn't there, or we didn't get any of his wisdom on camera, but we did get to see him before we came home. So hope you enjoy the video. It's a little long, but hope it's interesting.
Well, hello everybody. So our season is over. We're just about done cleaning up. My wife Carissa and I are taking a little time off, a little vacation, before we get some stuff going on at home that's going to need our attention. Just a little time away, clear our heads. So we are headed up to Vermont. We are headed to Burlington. That's where we're going to be staying. And while we're up there, we're going to be visiting Goodrich Maple. We look forward to showing you some of what Goodrich is doing up there. They have an absolutely huge operation, somewhere in the neighborhood of 150,000 taps, I believe, and it's quite a process. So this video might be a little longer than most, but we want to share with you what they're doing up there, and see what maple is on a big scale. So stay tuned. So right ahead of us here is Lake Champlain. We come around this bend, there is the Lake Champlain Bridge to Vermont. So over there is Vermont, over there is New York. We are about just a little over an hour away from Burlington, or a little under an hour away from Burlington. So that is our next stop, and will be our stop for the night. Good morning, all. Green Mountain Suites was where we are staying while we're here in Vermont, and we are off to Eden this morning. Talked to Chris Elliott yesterday from Goodrich, and he said they should be boiling later today, so we'll catch up with them when we get there. Here just a little farther, there's some trucks. That is Goodrich Maple's Eden Sugar House, and there it is. It doesn't look like they're boiling yet. The steam stacks are there on the top of the building. Nothing coming out of them, so we're going to get parked and go in and say hello. Alright, well here we are at Goodrich Maple. Mr. Glenn Goodrich is not here today. Chris Elliott, his right-hand man, is here. So we'll give you a quick run through the place. We'll start in the back. I'm just kind of panning through where the evaporators are. These are their two evaporators. There's this one here, and then there's one over here. That over there is a refrigerated bulk tank for their concentrate after it comes out of the ROs. So I'm going to get a little bit up in here. This is a steam evaporator, and you can see these steam lines down here. There's 3 loops, and they can run these pans almost down to nothing without having to worry about burning anything. I believe this is a 6x10. These units are made by Maple Expert Solutions, MES, out of New Hampshire. It's got a preheater up there. 24-inch stack on the steam hood, it looks like. So it's all pretty much automated. So we're going to go in the back, let them get these filled, and go from there. Okay, we're in the back of the sugar house now. This is their RO room. These are their ROs. There's 4 units here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are Goodrich ROs. So they're running these pretty slow today. They're just about at the end of their season. You can see the concentrate coming out at 18.5%. It looks like. We're running looks like about 40 gallons a minute. These machines will concentrate up to 30% sugar, 30 bricks. So I will turn around here, and this is another unit. So what they have is 18 membranes. You got three rows of 6. These are regular RO membranes, and then these 4 on top. 6 on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the Goodrich membranes, and that's what boosts that sugar up to 30%. So we're going to keep taking a walk through here. You can see all their machines. Like I said, they're just about done. This is how they get around in the woods. I'll take a little walk in here, and that is their steam boiler. That's what powers the evaporators, the evaporator pans. I believe Glenn told me it was a 250 horsepower boiler. These are their permeate tanks, and they are all full. There's 10,000 gallons in each of them, so there's 30,000 gallons of permeate. I don't know if you can see up in the woods there's some of the lines. Yeah, there they are. The lines coming down the hill, come over here into the sugar house. So now we're going up to their holding tanks. I don't know how well you can see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 13,000 gallon tanks here. And you can see the other end there, the sap comes in from the bottom. It is definitely cloudy end of the year sap. Like I said, they're making whatever they can make. Maybe we'll get a little footage of cleaning these later. That one's probably going to need cleaning. This one looks like they just finished cleaning it. There's still a little water draining out. Everything here is automated. They don't touch anything, really. They just bring it in through lines. Their main pump station is about 1.5 miles from here, and they just pump it 1.5 miles up here to the sugar house. Okay, now we're going to head back into the front of the sugar house where the evaporators are, and I kind of showed you those backwards. So what happens is the sap tanks are up in the back here, and once it comes into the sap tank, then it comes into the ROs. Once it's done in the ROs, it comes out front here, and that's where we go to this tank here. That's their overflow tank. That's a 1,500 gallon tank. This is a 6,000 gallon refrigerated bulk tank. So this is the one that's got concentrate in it. So what they can do is store sap or concentrate at 35 degrees, 34 degrees for up to 3 or 4 days. Looks like, you can see on the sight glass there, about, I'm going to guess 12, maybe 1,200 gallons of concentrate. So that'll get them about 3 hours of boil time on these rigs. The rig, I believe they're only running one today. So they're basically down to a skeleton crew. You can see all the barrels. I'm sure it's not all of what they've done this year, but all those barrels are full of syrup. Some over there against the wall. Those totes there hold 350 gallons each. So anyway, what they're doing right now is they're taking what was left of out of the evaporator yesterday and the filter press, and they're pumping it back into the evaporator. That's their sweep that they're going to start with. So they'll fill that back up, and then they'll start pumping the concentrate in. As it boils, maybe we'll get Chris to do a little bit later when he's running it. But basically, what they'll do is they'll pump it in one side. It'll work its way through the pans, and they draw off on the other side. And then about every hour they reverse it, and it'll go back the other way, and they'll draw off this side. And once they're done there, they pump it up and over, around here, and down to that tank. On the back here is a hopper that feeds diatomaceous earth into this tank. And I believe that's about a 250, 300 gallon tank, something like that. So that it'll go right in there and mix in there. Then it goes through one of these 4 filter presses. So you got 4 20-inch filter presses, and they have run them. Last year when we were here, they were running all 4 at once. So after it's done there, it pumps up into this hopper up on top, and down through this manifold, and that's where they can fill their barrels or their hoppers. So they're just starting to fill it up now. Getting a little steamy in there. You can hear it popping, and that's the sap and that sweet coming back in. You can already see it starting to simmer. That's how fast and efficient these steam rigs are. So it'll get up to probably about there. And I'll try to get a picture in here when it's boiling, if we can get a good picture with it. This whole pan is just going to be one big pile of bubbles. So here is a map of the Goodrich Maple Farm Eden Sugar Woods. Basically, when I said they pump it, there's the main pump station, and from there they pump it up over the hill all the way down here to the sugar house, which is where we are. And then all of these real dark lines that go up in here are all they call them superconductors, and into those superconductors come conductors, and to the conductors are tied main lines. And then so what we have in our woods that you've seen in our videos is a main line and laterals, and our main line goes to a tank. So the laterals come off the main lines come in to these conductors. The conductors go to the superconductors to the pump house, and then the pump house to the sugar house. So they've added a couple more steps. We'll have to ask Chris later, but I believe last year they were somewhere around 120,000 taps, and they were talking about putting an addition on last year of another 30,000 to get them up near 150,000 taps. So just as a frame of reference, this is the state of Vermont, and this is where the sugar house is right here. So that was the original map. This is a almost a 5,000 or almost a 6,000 acre property. You can see the view out the window here. This is the kitchen area in the sugar house. There are guys that pretty much spend the whole season here. You got a bunkhouse in here. And got their to-do list. Down here. So this is the back side of where those tanks are that I showed you earlier. And you can see this is how those tanks are filled. That first tank was filling, it's from that valve right there. And that's how they fill each of these tanks. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is how they're tied in to everything. Here is their vacuum pump, or one of their vacuum pumps. This vacuum pump is running this releaser. So what this does, it provides vacuum to up into the woods in one line, and then another line returns the sap into the sugar house. There's the lines that were coming in the back of the building from the lines that were up in the woods behind the sugar house. And the other thing they do here is everything is monitored. They run monitors on all their lines. It'll tell them how much vacuum there is. It'll tell them how full tanks are. It'll tell them temperature up in the woods. You name it, it'll tell them. We'll head back out here and see how things are going. So real quick, what this is an automatic draw off. And this screen here will tell you, so this is what the probe temperature is in the pan. This temperature here is what it is right here coming out. And if you watch that handle, it'll work back and forth and either slow or speed up the flow of syrup out of the pan depending on what the temperature is. So what my job is, I just got stood in front of this thing by Chris and said, here you go, run it, I gotta go take care of something. So what we're trying to do is get this right where we want it. I'm gonna hand the camera to Rissa. Oh, he's back. Thank goodness. What we're doing is checking with the hydrometer. I don't know if Chris can get up close enough on there. We're trying to get it right where it's at. Right between the H on hot and that red line. So that's right where it's floating. So we're doing pretty good. Just as a frame of reference, how big these guys are. This draw-off kettle was our season the last 2 years. Put together. Here, you want to hold that?
Okay.
Yeah, I can. Chris was just saying they set a new record this year. Just real quick. You see it's coming out a fair bit faster. Just a few seconds ago that was up to 20.7. So as this number goes up, it'll start coming out faster. He said back in March they set a new record for this sugar house. They made 4,900 gallons of syrup in one day. So he said he wants to hit 5,000 next year. So he said everything was going great that day. They were running all 4 ROs. The ROs were cranking out about 35% sugar. You can see better in there now what's going on. The glass is cleared a little bit. You can see it's right up to the top of the, there we go, top of the pans. So that's the raw sap coming in on that side, and as it works its way through the pans, we'll jump over this other portal over here. This is the finished syrup side over here. I don't know if you can see if I can find a hole in the, there we go. So this is the finished syrup side over here. And then once they run for a while, what they'll do is they'll reverse everything, and what that does is all the niter that's building up over here, it'll pick it up and redistribute it through the pan so they don't get a big pile of it over here. So just to show you, now this is the side where the concentrate's coming in, and you can see the probe in there is running between 160, 155 and 170, and the temperature right here, yeah, there's the probe right there. So the temperature right here is 117. And then by comparison, this is the side we're drawing off from. So you can see the DE coming in over on the other side there. And when we're making sugar, we add by the cup. Here they do it by the scoop. There's just an auger in there that keeps feeding. You can see it, the lines there going up into the tank. And shortly here we'll see it coming up in this sight glass. There it is. So even this late in the season for them here, they're still making mid-grade amber.
Draw directions. I just switched the defoamer probe, and now we're just going to lower the level in the pan, and let set the appropriate level, and then open up the feed in the direction that we're drawing syrup, and the lower density sap will push the syrup all the way across to the other side.
So basically what that's doing is taking the niter that's building up on this side and spreading it through the pan so you can boil longer.
Yeah, it helps to dissolve it later.
Okay. He's trying to train me to do this.
Already trained.
This is the part that's scary. You're afraid you're going to screw something up. There's a lot of levers and stuff you got to pay attention to. But right now it's just drawn down, and so that right there is the feed. Now he's just mixing the two tanks. There's a hole in the bottom of that divider there, so the two tanks mix. And he'll check both sides. Both sides, one side, he'll check. And then what we do, or what he does, is that switch right there. We'll flip that switch on, and it'll end up going up that hose, across the ceiling, and down into this tank here where the DE is getting mixed in.
Don't remember the last time we had that in the water.
Yeah, I don't either. You gonna pump over it out there?
Yep, there you go.
There we go. So it must be a little bit heavy.
Just a little.
So what he's doing is just adding a little bit of, well, it's not syrup yet, but he's just adding a little bit in out of these two middle bays to lighten it up. And when I say lighten, the density of the syrup is what he's checking. So he must be happy with it, so off it goes. You can see in there just a little bit of boiling going on down on the bottom, very bottom loop. And they're just finishing emptying out the pan, and this is what they'll keep for their sweet for the next boil. So you've seen how we fill our bottles. This is how the big operations do it. They don't fill bottles, they fill barrels. This spout goes in here. You just clamp these down. This is an overflow. That overflow will go into this barrel. You open this valve. And as it fills this barrel, once it gets full, it will go into the overflow. That's how you know the barrel's full. The tank up here. That shows how much syrup is left in the tank. So now we just wait. And once it fills up, it will overflow. And then we'll go on to the next step. Alright, so the way they track all these barrels, we'll show you over there, but each sample bottle's got a number on it, and that corresponds with a tally sheet over here. So they just fill one bottle for every barrel, and that bottle will go with that barrel to the packing house. Okay, you can see it coming through the overflow there, so we're full. We'll shut that off. So, what else do you do in Vermont besides maple syrup? Yes, that's right. On the way to the sugar house in Eden is Ben & Jerry's. So we're having some ice cream.
Hey everybody, hope you liked the video and found it informative and interesting. We have a good time every time we go up there and usually learn something new. Great bunch of people up there. If you ever get a chance, go up and visit them. They pretty much have their sugar house. You know, you can kind of walk in and say hello, and all those guys are real good, and they're more than happy to show you around and explain what they're doing. Anyway, so we got to get back to making sugar here, and probably through the summer here we're going to have some projects going on, so we'll share that with you. All right, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. Helps us keep you posted on what's going on. All right, thanks. Have a good one.